The Michigan Wolverines captured the momentum they needed for this upcoming year by beating Ohio State on the road and Alabama in their bowl game. I think this team is figuring out their identity as a run-first offense and a physical defense, and that's what they're going to lean on this upcoming season. Now, where it all starts is, of course, at quarterback. Bryce Underwood, a 5-star recruit, was committed to LSU for the vast majority of his high school career, but in the later parts of the season last year, after a bunch of unconfirmed meetings and calls, Underwood flips his commitment to Michigan, and he received a bag to go there. His NIL valuation is around $3 million. I think it's probably significantly more than that. I am a big fan of his. I think he's going to have a phenomenal career at Michigan, but being a true freshman starting quarterback is extremely tough to do. We've seen it with guys like Trevor Lawrence at Clemson where it pans out really well, but there's a lot of other, in my opinion, horror stories that end up ruining players' careers. So will that happen? It's yet to be seen. I think the pressure is there. The Big Ten title pressure from Michigan fans and the rest of this group is pretty high, in my opinion. And the offense is going to have to make some significant improvements because I think that's where all of the eyes lie when thinking about the Michigan fan base. They were 130th in pass yards per game. There were several games last year where the team did not have a 100-yard passer. Overall, they had 3 different quarterbacks that played significant time last year, 12 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Just unbelievably bad for a Big Ten offense that just a couple of seasons ago won the national championship game. That is just, in my opinion, shocking. Now, of course, they lost a ton of guys that went to the NFL, including their quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. So it's not like they had just a treasure trove of assets on the bench. This is the modern age of college football where that doesn't happen. But now, this upcoming year with Underwood as the quarterback, the skill group looks slightly improved. You get a running back in the portal like Justice Haynes from Alabama. I believe he's going to be the bell cow back there at Michigan. And overall, Sharon Moore, still an offensive-minded coach. You would think he's more of a passer, but this is a former offensive lineman and offensive line coach. I think he's going to continue to pound the rock. Michigan was one of the best running teams in college football last year, despite the fact that they had stacked box after stacked box in the opposing defense's scheming groups. I think this team is going to continue to lean on that, try to take the pressure off their young quarterback. Defensively, though, if this team wants to contend for a college football playoff spot, they're going to have to be just as good, if not better. Last year, they held opponents to 20 points or less 7 times, but still did not win more than 7 games in the regular season. That is a major problem. They had a top 20 scoring defense, a top 10 run defense. They play physical football. Wink Martindale, their defensive coordinator, is, in my opinion, one of the best in college football. This is a pro-style guy who likes to play chess, not checkers. I think their their defensive line is extremely physical. They love to win at the line of scrimmage. Their linebackers are extremely intelligent. They move very fluidly across the second level. And then, of course, their secondary is teeming with NFL caliber players like Rod Moore, who has started 28 games for this team despite his ACL injury last year. He comes back from injury. Will Johnson, an NFL player that just got drafted from Michigan, missed significant time last year, yet this team was still able to be as dominant as they were on the defensive side of the football. I think they can do it yet again. So looking at this schedule, in my opinion, as a top-tier caliber team like Michigan in the Big Ten, I think the schedule's relatively easy. They do have at Oklahoma. Of course, they play Ohio State at the end of the year. They have at Nebraska. It's probably their 3rd toughest game. They go to USC and Michigan State. Those are not cupcake games at all. But in my opinion, overall, Michigan is far beyond some of these other programs that are trying to build up to where Michigan is at now. Matt Rule has yet to do it at Nebraska. Lincoln Riley is struggling to do it at USC. And yes, while this Michigan offense has not performed well, they still won 8 games last year. I think it'll be a much improved season offensively. I've got the Wolverines right now 11-1, potentially 10-2. I do think they drop game number 2 versus Oklahoma. That defense is still teeming with talent down there in Sooner country. The offense should be much improved. In my opinion, Oklahoma's offense got significantly better than Michigan's, and I think they'll get the early jump on the Wolverines. If this game was later in the year, maybe it's a different story. But with the game being so early on in the year, I've got Oklahoma winning that. And then last but certainly not least, the game versus Ohio State. The game. Can they win it? Absolutely. They've won the last 4. I'm not going to doubt them until I see differently, quite honestly. Ryan Day has got to overcome that. And as of right now, I'm going to give Michigan the win. So 11-1 is what I got them going. Leave your comments. Please leave a like, subscribe. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.